about kinematics. This is a physics level for high school grade 11. And we're going to talk about the 4 kinematics equations. And I'm going to do one example. So here they are. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4 kinematics equations. So it's important in physics to understand what the equations are for, because physics is trying to use equations to describe something in the world. So these 4 equations all describe an object moving and an object accelerating. So if there's a car accelerating across a road or a ball being thrown and gravity is accelerating it downwards, kinematics describes the motion of that object. When we're doing these questions, the trick is to notice something. There are 5 variables. There's variable distance, velocity initial, velocity final, acceleration, and time. And every single one of these equations has 4 of these 5 variables. So for example, this first one has distance, velocity initial, time, and acceleration. It does not have velocity final. The second one, also for example, has velocity final, velocity initial, acceleration, and distance. This one does not have time. So when we're doing a kinematics equation, we want to begin by asking what are the variables that we have and what's the variable that we're looking for. Normally, we'll have 3 variables and we are looking for 1 variable. Okay, so for example, I have a question here. A boy throws a ball up at 15 meters per second. How high does it go? So when we're doing physics questions, it's always good to start with a picture. So there is a boy and he has a ball and he throws it upwards like that. And the question is, how high does it go? It's being thrown upwards at 15 meters per second. So, what do we know already? Well, we know the velocity initial, that's 15. We also know the final velocity. The final velocity is 0, because when it's being thrown up, the top point is when it stops. It stopped moving. So the final velocity is 0. And the acceleration is negative 9.8 meters per second. And we want to know distance. So we don't care about the time. That's the one that we don't need in this question. And so we actually need to use the second one in my list, this one here. Okay, so let's do a little bit of equations and see if we can figure out what the distance is. So we write Vf squared equals Vi squared plus 2AD. Oh, I just made a little, no, I didn't. Sorry, I'm making a comment. The acceleration is negative 9.8 here. And the reason it's negative 9.8 is because it's pointing downwards. In physics, you can pick which direction is positive and which direction is negative. And in my one, Vi is positive. That's pointing upwards. So the acceleration is pointing downwards, and that has to be negative. Okay, I just need to say that. So we plug our numbers in. So Vf is 0, Vi is 15, and we just square that. Plus 2 times negative 9.8 times d. And so we move 15 over, so we get negative 15 squared equals 2 times negative 9.8 times d, and negative 15 squared over 2 times negative 9.8 equals d. Now we've got to throw that into our calculator, and after we put that into a calculator, we get the distance is 11.5 meters. And I should probably make this 2, not 3 places of information, so 12 meters. Okay, so this is an example of a kinematics equation. It's a thing that's moving and there's acceleration happening on it. Okay, thank you for watching. I'll do more questions about kinematics equations to help you see what it means to